It was the spring of 2017. I was in excellent health and everything in my life was taking off. I was working as a professional actor and drummer and running a film production studio with my wife, Mary Lou. I was also competing in the Gold's Gym 12-week fitness challenge while simultaneously playing in a weekly flag football league. I felt better, faster, and stronger than I had in years. I was about to take my life to the next level. I even shouted it to the sky. I am ready. I am ready! And then we found a tumor growing right into my heart. On May 4th, 2017, I was diagnosed with cancer in the way of a germ cell tumor that was aggressively growing into my heart, right lung, and major veins. And I did specifically choose that date for my return appointment following the weeks of testing because may the 4th be with you. I snapped this selfie just days before we found this. My heart dancing with my glowing tumor. Okay, let's take a trip to science class. What are germ cells? According to Wikipedia, a germ cell is any biological cell that gives rise to the gametes of an organism that reproduces sexually. Germ cells originate in the primitive streak and migrate via the gut of an embryo to the developing gonads. The end products of the germ cell cycle are the egg or sperm. But germ cells migrating to the gonads may not reach that intended destination, and a tumor can grow wherever they end up. The Mayo Clinic says most germ cell tumors occur as testicular cancer or ovarian cancer. Some germ cell tumors occur in other areas of the body, such as the abdomen, brain, and chest. These extragonadal germ cell tumors are very rare. Therefore, my germ cell tumor was related to testicular cancer. So, I basically had a testicle growing inside of my chest. I called it my chesticle. The treatment plan included moving into UCLA Hospital to do chemo 24/7 for a week at a time, with at least 4 rounds scheduled. This would eventually kill the tumor but leave behind its hardened remains, which would need to be removed through a full open chest surgery. This is not the treatment plan I wanted to hear, but my heart was in jeopardy and we had to act fast. When I said I was ready, this is not what I meant. But I was ready. Come to think of it, I had been preparing for this moment for most of my life. For starters, I have always taken my physical wellness seriously, exercising regularly and eating healthy. I even committed to an all plant-based diet back in 2011. Around that same time, I dove into personal development and emotional healing. And perhaps my most powerful practice of all was the addition of daily meditation and chanting. To illustrate the power of that, PositivePsychology.com did a piece called 5 Health Benefits of Daily Meditation According to Science, where they state that the benefits of meditation are: it enhances empathy, improves cognition, is a natural stress stabilizer, promotes emotional health and well-being, and increases attention by inducing a state of flow. Cool. Personally, I believe that everything I'd been doing had brought me to this point. It prepared me to face the biggest obstacle of my life and maybe even gave me a chance to evolve into the person I was capable of being. When I found myself 2 days out from moving into the hospital to begin my treatments, I sat down to chant and meditate. Despite the tumor making it hard to breathe, I kept going and kept seeking. I began to surrender to everything that I was facing. I was starting to accept it all, and my mind was more clear and open than maybe ever before. And that's when 3 words came to me: embrace, love, free. I don't know where this gift came from, but I guess you could say I was in a state of flow. So I went with it, and I let those words digest. I then began applying those words to my obstacle. I would say, embrace cancer, love cancer, free cancer. Now, this wasn't a magic formula to heal me, but rather an opportunity for me to see everything from a totally different perspective. It was essentially a philosophy that would become the roadmap for my journey and my life, a 3-step action plan that could help me face my cancer and all of my future obstacles for that matter. And just maybe, I could even share this concept in hopes of helping others. So now, I will share this 3-step method with you, which brings me to step 1, embrace. After my diagnosis, I didn't want to accept it, nor the insane treatment plan. But with this newfound strategy, I chose to embrace my cancer rather than resist it. I could have easily chosen to be the victim. Instead, I realized that I needed to learn to coexist with it. When I chose to embrace, it was as if I was choosing peace. I'd like to invite you to do the same. If you want to overcome your challenge, start by accepting it. It's not going anywhere. If you honor the situation you are in, you will have a foundation from which to begin. You don't have to like it, but you must embrace it. Once I had embraced, I was ready to move forward into step 2, love. Instead of following the rally cries to kick cancer's butt, you could say I chose to love the cancer right out of me. My tumor wasn't bad. It just was. It was trying to survive like anything. Why would I hate something that was part of me? When I chose love, everything just felt better. My entire circumstance took on a whole new meaning. I felt like anything was possible, and I knew that I had created the ideal environment to learn and grow. And while I don't have scientific evidence, I felt that if there was an ideal state for healing, this was it. I also realized that I needed to develop a relationship with JT, short for Justin's tumor. We were in this together. I literally spoke to him. I thanked him. I called him my mentor. I told him I loved him. I also told him he had fulfilled his mission. His job here was done, and it was safe to go. Meanwhile, at the hospital, I even gave love and gratitude to my chemo, despite what it was doing to my body. I felt that it was imperative to stay in this space. As the days went on, the more time I took to reflect. And the deeper I went, the more I realized that I had started burying my emotions at a very young age and lived for much of my life with an emotionally closed heart. It's kind of interesting that a tumor grew into it, huh? According to Harvard University, early childhood trauma is a risk factor for almost everything from adult depression to PTSD and most psychiatric disorders, as well as a host of medical problems such as heart attack and stroke, obesity, and cancer. So, is it possible that my emotional trauma contributed to my tumor's existence? I don't know, but I pretended that it did. And when it did so, it allowed me to take some of the responsibility for the situation I was in and gave me the opportunity to heal my emotional heart. In order to do that, I needed to learn to love myself. My cancer wasn't the only obstacle. The tumor merely revealed what also needed to be healed. So, throughout my treatments, I practiced self-love and self-care daily. I surrendered to this world, and I eventually saw the bigger reason I was going through all of this: to grow as a human and to help others. This gave me the inspiration to keep pushing myself. Even as things got harder, I continued to do my best. I lost all my hair. I saw my body change. I suffered terrible pain. And there were certainly a few low points where I questioned if I wanted to live, or if I was even worth saving. But after 3 months and 60 bags of chemo, my chest was sawed open to remove the now dead tumor. Actually, a lot of things were removed or rearranged inside of my chest. Part of my lung was taken out. One side of my heart's pericardial sac was cut away and patched with Gore-Tex, and my superior vena cava which is essentially my main vein, was fully removed and rebuilt with bovine heart tissue. Now, as a longtime vegan, that was a bit shocking to find out that one has cow inside of oneself. Being that I was now part cow, I wondered, if I ever ate beef again, would I be a cannibal? I was released from the ICU. I was cancer-free and now in recovery. As hard as things got, I held strong to my practice of embrace and love, and I saw my cancer through to the other side. Understand that by changing your perspective from fear into love, you may open up a whole new world of possibilities. Try seeing your challenge through an empathetic lens. Seek to coexist and embrace and love so that you have the right tools and mindset to go through it. According to Psychology Today, growth mindset means one embraces challenges, persists in the face of setbacks, takes responsibility for their words and actions, and acknowledges that effort is the path toward mastery. So, with the right mindset, you at least give yourself a better chance to evolve in so many more ways. Now, if you truly want to see your obstacle to the other side, you must remember step 3, free. When I got to the other side of cancer, I was in rough shape, and physically, I couldn't do anything for myself. I didn't feel good, and I wasn't healing fast enough. I started to feel anger. Old issues were resurfacing. Spiritually, something didn't feel right. Had I not learned all the lessons? We removed the tumor from my heart, but was my heart emotionally open yet? I hadn't yet realized the importance of this step until that December, when I found myself being rushed into an emergency surgery as my heart was collapsing under a liter of fluid. That was the closest I ever came to death. A week later, another surgery, this time to create a permanent hole in the sac of my heart. You think I'd get the hint? I started the long road back to recovery as a shell of my former self. I should have been ecstatic that I was alive, but I was in darkness and I couldn't seem to find my way out. And that's when it hit me. This was still part of the obstacle. I wasn't accepting myself for where I was. I needed to bring embrace and love back in and accept that wherever I was that day was okay, that I was enough. It was time to free the story of being a cancer patient and instead continue expanding my heart and sharing my philosophy. I was ready to start living as my most authentic self. Step 3 is crucial because this is where the big lesson is learned. If you simply overcome the surface of an obstacle without overcoming the core of its cause, it may return or manifest in another way. As you work through your challenge, you may experience difficulties as well. Go back to the top, embrace, and come from love. Once you find yourself back in alignment, it's time to step out of that old shell of your former self and into a more evolved you. Free yourself from the energy of your obstacle and take with it only the lesson learned and the benefit gained. I want everyone to understand that we all face challenges, big and small, every day. Not all are cancer. However, we can choose to do whatever it takes to overcome that obstacle. It's not going to be easy. We may fall down many times. This is the foundation of life. This is how humans improve and evolve. We face a challenge, we overcome, we prepare for the next one. If we teach ourselves to come from a compassionate and empathetic place, to radiate love more than fear and hate, imagine the ripple effect. Every time we face an obstacle, we have a choice in what perspective we will take. In my case, I couldn't have survived without conventional medicine, but when I chose to follow my heart and seek a different way to face my obstacle, everything changed. And as I continued to take care of myself physically, mentally, and emotionally, I saw that impact not only on my life, but also on those around me. So whatever challenge you may be facing now and for the rest of your life, I invite you to experience it from a different perspective. Notice what that feels like in your body. What good can you do with it? How can it elevate your life and the lives of others? The possibilities just became infinite. All you need to remember is, say it with me now, embrace, love, free. Thank you.